Good morning. My name is Emily Hanlon, and I'm the 12th grade Parent Education Chair. Thank you for joining us for the College Decisions and Senior Internship Program discussion. Our panelists are Kelly Damasio, who is the Senior Internship Program Coordinator, Counselor Cindy Rivera and Lindsay Gottfried, and social worker Casey Gormley. Kelly will kick us off with the Senior Internship Program details, and we invite you after the session to come over and purchase Jeffrey Sinlingo's book, Dream School. We have some leftover copies. He was here last week. If you missed it, it was a fabulous presentation, and there are lots of great highlights that pertain to the whole college process. Thanks, Kelly.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So last Wednesday, I presented to your seniors at the building blocks about the senior internship process, how to get registered. Then right after the applications opened up, and an email was sent to your seniors with a recap of what I presented, the link to register, and also I sent them a Google sheet that has a list of all of the different internship sites that we have with descriptions, locations, hours. So if you want to follow up with your student on that, make sure they are getting going with that application. The email was sent on December 3rd. It was sent from me, Ms. Kelly Damasio, with the subject line Senior Internship. And again, in that email, a list of all of our internship sites that the school provide is in there. Additionally, when they log on to the portal that we use for them to register, they can find all of that information in there as well. So this year we have 380 internships that the school is providing for them across 243 different internship sites. So the internships run from May 19th to June 9th. The start date will always be the same. It's the Monday after AP exams. The end date could extend pending if we have snow days. The students will complete 80 internship hours. Typically, they're every day for about 5 hours a day. Students are receiving academic credit, so we do ask that they do not schedule college visits, any vacations, or surgeries, such as like wisdom teeth taken out during that time, because again, that would affect their hours, and they have a site that has planned a nice internship for them, so we don't want them to be missing that. They all receive a faculty mentor. So the faculty mentor is kind of their go-to person if they have questions throughout the process. Their faculty mentor will do a site visit, so they'll go visit them to see what they've been up to. And also, they are reviewing their weekly journals. So part of them receiving academic credit is they're doing weekly journals each week, and they also are submitting a time log. The deadline for them to submit the application is January 7th. I do send reminders to the students. I do announcements on morning announcements, but feel free to give them a reminder from you as well. As I mentioned before, students all will register on the platform we use is called School Links, so they all have that link. It's also on their class links. It's confusing. School links, class links. They all have class links, and on class links, there's a folder labeled Senior Internship, and it's in that folder as well. So when they log in, they're going to see two different applications. So there's the Placed by the School application, and there's the Self-Design application. They will select one of the two. The Placed by the School, they'll read through the database of all of the internships that we provide. They're going to select their top 15. They'll rank them with one being their first choice. And then the school will place them based on their interests, their top choices, and the best fit for the company. You may wonder why 15, we asked them to select 15. And that's because there are some sites that are so popular that many students have them on their list, so it's important that they have a variety. I will say usually most students get within their top choices, and we are so fortunate to have so many wonderful opportunities that most students are very happy with their placements. Placements go out in February, so usually when we get back from February break a few days later, the students will get their placements, and the students, we have them connect with their sites shortly after. So this isn't a full orientation, but more for them to get to know their supervisor, what they'll be doing, where do they go their first day, what should they be wearing, and so they really feel comfortable that first day of internships when they start. I did share with your students during the presentation that because there are so many internships that we're providing, to give themselves plenty of time to review, to go through. Again, we want them to be happy with all 15 sites that they select. So, I did tell them, please take your time with it and don't wait until January 7th to look through it all. And I encourage them not just to read the title of the internship, but really make sure that they're reading the descriptions of the internship. I also encourage them to make sure they're checking the location. Most of them are in New Canaan. We do have some great opportunities outside of New Canaan. I want to make sure that they're comfortable driving outside of New Canaan and we don't reimburse for gas. And then also that they're checking the hours. Most of the sites are during the school hours. If it is after 2:30 or a weekend, the site will specify on that description. So, for some students, they might love doing it later. For other students, they have an activities after school, they have a job, so that wouldn't work out for them. But I really want them to make sure that they're paying attention to that. The self-design, that's where they go out and they design their own internship based on the school's criteria. I reminded them it's important to make sure that they are following along the school's criteria because the committee is checking and we have the final say and approve that. So they cannot intern where they currently work. They can't intern for themselves. They can't intern for a family member. It must be within a 30-mile radius of the school. If it is remote, they must do a video conference daily with their site supervisor, and they cannot select a self-design that's on the school database. So they all have that list so they can check to make sure it's not on there. Before they submit their application, they'll need to make sure that they have their sites, their hosts, contact information, so email, phone address, and a description of what they'll be doing. That's all on the application that they need to submit. It's also a two-step process for approval. So once they click submit, an email goes to the site with the copy of their application. The site will review it and approve it, and then the committee will approve it. And then I reminded them, do not wait. These take time. Sometimes they fall through. We're entering the holiday season, so people, are leaving early for vacations. They're not checking emails. Sometimes there are multiple people that sites have to go through to get approval, which takes time. So those are also due, the self-design are also due January 7th. All of the information is in the email that I sent the students on December 3rd from Mrs. Dalmasio. It's also on the senior internship website. So if you go on the high school website and just do a search senior internship, you can find it there. I'm always happy to, if you email, call, I'm happy to answer any questions. Before I leave, any questions for me? Yes. Yeah. So all of the students in addition to them figuring out the top 15 sites, they also are answering short essay questions, and then they're also doing 15-minute mini interviews with us. So they schedule those. Those begin during exam week, and they go until February 6th. And I always tell the students they should not be stressed about the interviews. Really, we design the interviews to really get to know them, to look at their list, to talk through their list. Sometimes what they have on their list, me having gone through and approved all of these, and then talking with them, realizing like, oh, that might not be a good fit. Sometimes we'll discuss other options, or I'll say, have you thought about this? This site has over 100 students that are interested in it as well. Would you consider this site that may only have a few students that are interested? So, and then, we're looking at, we always try to get students in their top choices. Also with the interviews, we feel like New Canaan High School, we want to prepare them for that next step when they go to college and they are interviewing for other internships in college or jobs. It can be nerve-wracking for them. So we feel like we've created a nice, safe space for them to kind of practice those skills. And again, I tell the students, there's not much that they need to prepare for other than what they want to get out of the internship, why they chose the sites that they did. Yes.
When you say the application, is that all? What you just said?
Yes. Yep. So when they go onto that school links, There's for the students that are doing the place by the school, when they first click on the place by the school, they're going to see on the left-hand side all of the companies listed with the internship title. When they click on each one, it pulls up where they're located, a detailed description, the hours, if there's any additional information. For example, Stanford Hospital, we have a great partnership with, and that requires them to have some immunizations. There's additional paperwork, so it will pull up more details once they click. And then on the right-hand side, when they see the sites that they want to choose, they click a heart on the description, and it brings it to the right-hand side. And then they can organize it by their top choices. When they click the next button, and that it saves. So they can come back and forth to that, and whatever they add on that right-hand side is not going to be deleted. Excuse me. When they click next, that's where it has those short essay questions. And then for the self-design, there also are some essay questions that we require as well. Yeah, good questions. Okay. Well, I am available if you have any questions, so thank you very much, and I look forward to working with your seniors. Thanks.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah.
I actually will add to that in that we also encourage kids, they can look at this two ways. Look at something, maybe towards something they're truly interested in pursuing, but it's also a great time to look at it as something to, enjoy. Like, I've always loved graphic design. I'm not going to major in it, but I'd love to find out more about it. So, you can look at it in a couple of ways in terms of it's just a few weeks. They know where they're going to college. It's not going on any resume right now, so they can just enjoy the experience. Okay, so I'm Cindy Rivera again, so nice to see you all. How many went to Jeff Salingo last week? Good. So you're getting a lot of this right now. But this is good because, particularly for the seniors, decisions are starting to come out. I'm hearing from parents that your kids are all over the place emotionally. And it's got to be tough, It's like, how do you respond to these kids without making them mad at you again or having them shut down? And so we're going to talk today about how to respond to this positively, respond to the ups and downs of what you're experiencing right now. And, really know your children are resilient. They'll get through it. And we want to make this a positive experience for them and know that it's not the end of the world when they don't get in somewhere. So we're doing this as a role play, kind of silly, but it'll be a discussion where we'll do a role play and then we'll discuss why this isn't exactly the way to go about it, and then offer suggestions and ideas. So we'll be asking you what you think as we go through it and talking through each thing of this. First of all, I'm just going to talk a little bit we're going to talk a little bit about the different admissions decisions that are about to come out and what to think about them. So I think we'll start with Lindsay.
Hi, all. So as Cindy said, we're going to talk about the different admissions decisions in terms of the application type that your student applied for, and then kind of navigate from there. So the first one is accepted. Woohoo, right? Very exciting. Hopefully your student's starting to get some of these decisions. So that's always the best thing to see, of course. We always like to celebrate with your students, so definitely please encourage them to let their counselor know every single decision they get. So it's really nice, even if it's not their number one best school, just to know you're in somewhere can be really helpful. And so yay, accepted. But accepted can go in a couple of different ways. So there's early decision. So just to review, I know Jeff also reviewed these things, but early decision, hopefully by now you know. An earlier deadlines, November 1st or 15th, those are all taken care of at this point. It's a binding decision, right? So if your student has been accepted early decision, congratulations, amazing news. They're all done. And now what happens is they will have to go onto their portals, actually accept their decision, send the deposit, and then what we advise students to do is withdraw all their other applications, We understand that students are curious. They would love to just see what happens at the other schools. But as you can kind of imagine, it's a little bit unethical, and it does take up a spot that another student who's really hoping to get into that school might not get, because your student might be getting in and they're already committed somewhere else. We've sent out emails to our students reminding them to withdraw their applications. It'd be really helpful at home if your student has gotten an early decision to also remind them to withdraw their other applications. It just makes it fairer for everybody. If they have any questions about how to withdraw, please have them come see their counselor and we can help them with that process. For early action, so those were also early deadlines, right? Mostly November 1st, 15th, some December 1st. They may not have heard from their early action schools yet. Some have, some haven't. The schools that have early decision and early action usually come out with early decision first, and then early action will follow, sometimes in January or February, sometimes in the next couple of weeks. Early action is a little bit of a different situation. So your students get in, yay, and they don't actually have to make a decision yet. So they can hold off until May 1st on making any kind of commitment anywhere. They can see everywhere they've gotten in. You can compare financial aid packages. You can do all of those kinds of things. So it's nice to know that they're in early, but they don't have to go there. They can wait till May 1st to make a decision, just like they would for any other school. So that's early action, just a little bit different. Regular decision are those applications that maybe haven't gone out yet. Most of those are going to be due January 1st or January 15th. And they'll get a decision on those usually in March, maybe very beginning of April. And that'll give time to also, if they get in, compare with the other schools they got into early action, maybe visit the schools again to really make a good decision, make sure that they know what they want, compare those financial aid packages again if that's something that is a concern for you. And then you get to ultimately make a decision from that. Deposit by, again, it's May 1st. Most of the time, you'll check portal specifically for each school, and your counselors are certainly happy to go through that with you as well. But that will make a decision usually by May 1st. They'll have decided, yes, I want to go to this school versus this school. There's no need to withdraw any applications in that case, even if you are not going to a school, because everybody's getting the information at the same time. So that's regular decision, and those are all, if yay, we've gotten in, those are the different ways that decisions get made.
And then we have the denies. This is, you get denied from early decision, early action. There's nothing more to be done. We move on. We really help your children grieve through that, but there's not a call to admissions, further information. Nothing's going to change that decision. So it's just time to accept that and help your child to say, okay, we did everything we could. We gave it our shot, and now we go on to the other ones. You will find your kids get over this faster than you will. Give them a couple of days of being whatever they are, and then they're ready to turn around and let's consider something else. Be mad at that school for not understanding how good that the person, what they just missed, but then we'll move on from it. They could be deferred from early decision or early action. Being deferred from early decision means you no longer have to commit to that school if they do take you in the regular round. They're going to defer you to the regular round where you're going back into the pool of applicants. They're going to go back and look at you again. They're saying, yep, you're probably an acceptable person for us, but we want to see more. Oftentimes, they want to see those first semester grades, especially for the kids who are just jumping into APs this year or taking a much more rigorous schedule. They might be wanting to see an update on those grades. So defer is not something to say, well, they never get in. They're still in the running at that point. And when you are deferred, they will offer a letter of what more you can do. There's a letter of continued interest that they'll ask for. So that's the least you could do is, yes, I'm still interested in knowing a decision. But they also may offer, they may say, there's nothing more you can do. We have everything. Or usually they say, please send any updated information. Did you get another award? win the state championship? Did you, anything like that, new and different that isn't in your application, they may ask for that kind of information. So you read those letters very carefully as to what more information the schools may want to see, and craft something for, help them craft something to send. Again, the counselors are here to help them with that if they need anything. There is also wait list, which doesn't happen often in the early round to go straight to wait list, but it does happen. So you're not in the regular pool. There's just saying you're qualified, but we don't have a spot for you right now. We're going to wait till after May 1st and see what we have left. And they're still looking at everything else. You still have a chance with the same criteria of what else you can send. Sometimes you'll be branched. Some of the big schools like UConn and Penn State and some of those will say, you've been accepted to our school, but to this campus. And that means, yay, it's an acceptance, but not to the main campus. So that's when you have to make some decisions whether that main campus, that branched campus is good. A lot of times it's because there's a particular major in that branched campus that might be suited to you. So again, you have to read all that carefully. Sometimes you can appeal to try to get to the main campus at a later date. It is something to look into, but it isn't a direct no, it's just a branch. UConn will do that to a lot of our students. We'll branch them to Stanford. We're seeing a lot of that. And it could be in a short term, they're branching you for a semester, but then you can come to the main campus. There's also January admits. So that means you're not coming in September of your next year, but we will take you a semester in. You can take a semester working or take a semester abroad. They'll offer all kinds of opportunities, options for you to do something else for a semester and then start in January. So that's another option to consider. The larger schools have usually a big cohort because they have they have more beds because a lot of kids go off to study abroad. They have beds. So they'll start you in January and they still generally find ways for you to graduate at the same time with that class. Okay, questions about all of that? Make sense? Okay. It makes sense till you get those letters, and then you'll be like, wait, what? And then you can call us. Okay, now we're going to start the next section of all of this. We're going to do our scenarios, and then we're going to talk about, how to respond to all of these. Okay, so I'm playing the mother. Obviously, the old lady here. She's playing my little girl because she's so little. So, and then Casey is helping us analyze all of these people. So, there we go. Hey, sweetie, what are you looking at?
Georgetown emailed, my admissions decision is available in the portal.
This is it, huh? Who knows? Maybe you'll end up at the same school as your brother after all.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, come on. Let me see that. Well, that's disappointing. But we knew Georgetown was a big reach.
I know, that's what I've been saying from the beginning. I didn't even want to apply.
I know how much this must hurt. You and Tommy have been talking about going to Georgetown together since you could walk.
No, Mom, you've been talking about that. This sucks. Because of you, I actually want to go, and now I can't. Why did you even make me apply?
Oh, no, this is not my fault. I've been on you about your grades for 4 years. You never want my help. Tommy made the high honor roll every year and was the Stuco president. You spend your afternoons gaming. What did you really expect? There are plenty of other colleges. Pick one you actually got into. I didn't force you to apply, and you'll be fine wherever you end up.
Jeremy runs upstairs and slams the door to his room. You hear the sounds of Fortnite coming from the room until the early hours of the morning.
Okay, maybe a few mistakes in how we handled that. So what do you think? What were some of the mistakes that happened in this?
Yep.
Well, you shouldn't have looked at it to begin with. Shouldn't that be the daughters to look at?
Yeah,
She's real basic.
Not necessarily. A lot of times we want to do it together.
Sure.
But yes. Anything else? What shouldn't she have been doing?
Maybe not mention comparing the grades.
Comparing to the sons? Yeah, comparing to the brother. Definitely not the time. You know, that ship has sailed, so you don't want to be talking about what you didn't do in all of this. Anything else? Yeah?
Maybe she could have listened rather than given her opinion. Just listening.
Right.
Listening is always really helpful. Sometimes kids just need to vent, right? Sometimes they don't want you to be the sounding board at that time. They just want to kind of let you know how they feel. That's okay.
Yeah. Good. And no, this is such a hot topic. You know they're going to hear it from everybody, right? Did you get in? Did you get in? What else is happening? And there's a lot of stress in terms of how to handle this. The mom didn't ask how the kid felt. You know, where was she going? You know, what are you feeling about all of this?
But else, you know, this was the mom's dream. This wasn't really the child's dream. So recognize that. It's okay that they applied, but it's not necessarily the kid's dream. Casey, did you want to add anything?
So I just handed out I like the visual because it sort of grows. It's a validation, which is very difficult to do in those moments of awkward or difficult conversations, but it's a great starting point. Like having that moment, you can have that moment, but make sure that you're paying attention. You're in the moment. You're very mindful of what your child is experiencing. And sort of, I like the listening, but it's also watching how their body's reacting to it. Like, do you see their shoulders slump or are they excited? You know, they put a lot of effort into this process, and you know, they might be holding a lot of thoughts and feelings that you don't necessarily know. It sounds like maybe she did want to go to the school, but then there was this balance of like, maybe I really didn't, you know, and watching the body language, you might learn very quickly like what she was actually thinking and feeling. And then sort of stepping it up to, I notice that you're smiling or that you seem disappointed right now, like sort of mirroring with your words, what you're seeing, their reaction. I can imagine what you're feeling right now. You know, my heart's hurting for you. You know the words that you use. Those are words that I use with my kids all the time to sort of connect with them. And you'll find those words too. Think about that some of these denials, they are going to feel like a loss, right? So, you know, think about how you want to be supported when you feel that that loss of whatever it may be, or that moment that you were, the ideal that you were like, yes, this is going to happen, and then it doesn't, and that disappointment. So sort of sit with them in that moment and really connect. So these are the sort of the levels of validation. It is tricky not to have your own emotion react in the moment and instead validate. Validate doesn't necessarily mean you're agreeing with. It's just meeting them where they are. Like, I am understanding your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors right now, and I can see how that sort of matches with the context of the situation.
Okay, scene 2. Here we are again, back in our roles. Mrs. Jones told me UNC decisions are out today. Have you seen yours?
I'm gonna look now. I'm freaking out.
What you think about, you bring about. You are going to get in. Okay.
I didn't get in.
Oh, no, honey. Aw, I'm so sorry this happened. It's going to be okay, though. UNC just doesn't know how amazing you are.
I worked so hard for this.
I know. I could kill those admissions reps. All those sleepless nights spent studying for your AP test, and all of your activities, lacrosse, student advocates, volunteering at the Nature Center. What more do they want? If you didn't get in, I bet no one from the class will. There's no one more qualified than you.
Sarah just texted me. She got in.
Oh, now that's just ridiculous. Sarah isn't half the student you are. Her parents must know someone. I'll do some digging. There's just no way she was accepted and you weren't.
I can't do this. I'm going to Jess's house.
Remember, you're a star. We'll get through this together. I'm being dramatic. I think my kid would kill me if I sounded like that. So, what did we hear here that might not have gone so well?
Putting down a friend or somebody else's child.
Yes, right. You have no idea why. You know, so often people say, my child got in because their essay was perfect. You have no idea why your child got in. You know, it's so random and at a certain level. And so you will never really know the reason why. And that's what's so
And all of
frustrating.
these students are working so hard. Like, everybody's working really hard. So, and there's already a little bit of a, as you probably have seen, a competitive atmosphere going on, and you don't want to encourage that. You want to have everybody be supportive of one another. It can be really hard in the moment, but you're just fueling the fire.
I'm curious, has anybody here said to your child, oh, I know how you feel, or I know, and you get an immediate response like, no, you don't. You don't know how it is to be a teenager these days. Anybody experience that? I'm getting it from my middle schooler right now. So it's in that you did say, and there was a moment, oh, I know that you've been, I know you worked hard for this. I know. Sometimes it's that in that validation, it's like switching the word just a little bit, and they lose that ability to, no, you don't know, to react. Like I hear that you're challenged by this. I hear that, or I see, or even I wonder. Like those are ways to sort of avoid the no.
So I have a question. At the beginning of that, you said to her, I know you're going to, kind of manifest this. I know you're going to get in. Okay, so you don't want to set your kid up for disappointment. I am usually a glass half full person, except for where my children are involved, and then a glass half empty, which is not helpful. So where's that happy medium ground between, like, I'm here and I'm in it, but whatever's about to happen is great? How do you walk that?
Very fine line.
It is a fine line.
Yeah.
I know you're capable of managing whatever that decision says.
Okay.
I am hopeful. I am standing next to you. I want what you want. Like there it is a fine line. You're absolutely right. But sticking to the actions and behaviors that they can sort of guide them in managing, working through what's about to happen, no matter which way it goes.
Right.
Right.
And definitely your mama bear comes out.
Yeah.
You want to protect your child
Yes.
from anything. This is the first time, I always think, where parents and students don't have much more control over the situation. No matter how hard they work, no matter who you know, no matter how much money you can spend on this, it's not in your control. It's not in their control. And it's the hardest thing for them to understand, for you to understand. It's definitely, a big tipping point for kids with that.
So it's helpful for the things that you can control, managing your reaction and your expectations, and your child's expectations. Those are things that are within, to some extent. I understand there's feelings in there, but to some extent within your control. And so trying to sort of, approach it in a way, or prepare for it in a way to best support your child is a thing you can control, when there's all these things that you can't.
Yeah.
What I thought I heard was a question of the credibility of the decision. How could they make this decision? They didn't see how great you are, and I would have thought that just sets up for further disappointment. So don't question the credibility and validity of the
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah, it's not a fair process. When you have colleges, particularly those top 25 kids, the 25 schools that Jeff Slingo was talking about, they have, 50,000 applications for 2,000 spots. It's like, and they have to compare you to all those applications. There's definitely going to be kids equal to your child. And they're going to have to make that kind of hairline decision. And it's often just not fair.
It also depends what they're looking for in that given year. So maybe in a certain major they're looking for more kids in a newer major they have, or maybe they need a French horn player that year, or they need a mascot, or whatever it is that they're looking for. And this other student may have that thing, and it doesn't mean that your student is any less than. It's just they didn't have that thing, and we're not often told what that thing is. What we certainly share that with you and your students, but a lot of times those decisions are made internally, and we don't always know what the priorities are that year.
So the goal here is to lessen your student's self-doubt, shame, right? And one of the ways that maybe you could do that is you can stand beside them and be like, I'm confused by this decision too. I don't know what they were looking for. And that's honest. Like it's okay to not know. And kind of, I'm disappointed with you. I can see how excited you were for this click, this open, this envelope.
We don't get envelopes anymore.
So high tops.
Okay.
The anticipation of it, right? Whatever the opening moment is, right? And just kind of sit with them with that.
Okay, next scene.
Dad, I got accepted to Central.
That school didn't even make the U.S. World Report ranking. What about Villanova? Your mother and I are alumni.
Yeah, but I want to major in early childhood education, and they have one of the best programs in the state. And you heard Mrs. Shadler, Villanova is a huge reach. I know you went there, but there's no chance I'm getting in.
Wouldn't it be better to aim higher? You've never had anything lower than an 80. I think you can do a little better.
Oh, can you stop?
I'm concerned about your future prospects. You need to consider a college that opens more doors for you.
Dad, stop. You're really annoying me. I am going to Central. It's not like I've had straight A's throughout high school. I've taken 2 AP classes, and you can think I can get into Villanova? You're insane, and I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Carolyn, I'm pushing because I love you. Maybe it's not Villanova, but I just want you to think about this. Keep Central on your list, but please submit applications to 3 schools that are at least ranked, especially if you want me paying the tuition.
Thoughts?
Someone talk to her.
What do we think on that one?
That stands out.
A lot of pressure there.
No pressure, yes. And what's his message to her?
Not good enough.
You're not good enough. That's not good enough. And what is she feeling? Angry.
Let down.
You're disappointed in me. You know, that I really love this school and it's going to work out for me, and you can't see that.
You're not listening to me. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You're not understanding what I want.
They have different priorities.
And Dad's not wrong with this, right? That they do have different priorities, and it's something that you can have that discussion and lay that seed, but that doesn't mean we dismiss what the child wants completely, right? And maybe Dad needs to look at Central as well to see why she's so enthralled by that. My son applied to schools, same kind of kid, and he loved what I considered his safety school counselor. Like, my husband put that name on because he went to that school. I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna. But my son went there, loved it from the beginning of it. Whether it was snowing, sleeting, raining, he loved that school. And so ultimately he went there. He got into lots of other schools, but he went there, and he became the big fish in a small pond. Professors invited him to dinner. His friends were all at the top of the class. They all were getting great recommendations for their next steps for interviews, things like that, because they were the standouts of the class. So it worked out in ways I never, ever considered would be right for him. And he was a quiet, nervous kid, and this school made him a confident leader. So I had to shut up.
I would also encourage, to recognize your own thoughts and feelings in the moment as well. Like, the same time that you're understanding your reaction to this news, maybe match your students and then sort of put a pin in it and have a conversation a little bit later, like, oh, you seemed really excited about this school. Tell me what it is that you love about this. Because when I look at schools, I'm looking for this, this, and this. So tell me what drew you to this school. It doesn't necessarily, you can have that conversation where your priorities don't match, just maybe not in that moment of, she was excited about this, acceptance, and sort of taking in that moment for what it is and letting the celebration happen and saving the conversation for a little bit later.
How do you feel about the parents saying I'm paying for this?
I've had conversations with students about this, and in our lives, we are not always in control of things, and there are many influences we can influence others, and others influence us. And the financial piece is an influencer. They, as an individual, you have to take that into account and measure. Am I wanting to go to this other school that I know I will have no financial support in? Or am I going to sit down with my parent and have that conversation about what financial support does look like and what I might have to give up? It's part of life. It's a very awkward and difficult conversation as well.
Okay. Next.
I got my Penn State decision. I was deferred.
This is unexpected. What are we going to do about this?
Do you think there's anything I can do to improve my chances?
I'll reach out to the admissions office and send them a letter explaining why you're so passionate about attending and ask what else we can do.
But do you think that'll make a difference? I don't want to annoy them.
It's worth a shot, sweetheart. We'll do everything we can to support you in this. I'll ask Mr. Jones to talk to his golf instructor. I remember him mentioning that he's a Penn State alum and gives a hefty donation every year. I bet if you had a recommendation from him, they'd take you. And I bet we can also have Pastor George write an email. His great-uncle went to Penn State.
Maybe, although I really haven't gone to youth group at all this year. Do you think he'd still write it for me?
I'll get him on board. Don't worry about it. I'll text the guys from the office, too. I'm sure someone knows someone.
Yeah,
Okay, where are we going with this?
Desperate. The parent should not be doing it for the student. We hear from admissions all the time that can be a real thorn in their side if they start hearing from parents. This is the time for the student to reach out and say, what more can I do? And again, reading that letter that comes with the decision. What else do you want from me? You can be there to help them figure out what you're going to say. And this is hard for kids to make a phone call. They don't make phone calls anymore. And I've had a lot of kids in my office say, come on, let's practice. Okay, let's call. You say the words. But they're like, well, what do I say? How do I introduce yourself? But it's good, the colleges want to know your child is nearing adulthood and can take care of things on their own and won't need mom and dad to do it for them. So.
Yeah, and then anything else you heard before I address the other elephant in the room here? Sending a million letters from people who don't actually know your child is not going to be helpful, no matter how connected they are to a school. If they have no relationship with your child, no way to really talk about your child in any kind of different way than they're already spoken about. Remember, your child's got recommendation letters from teachers and their counselor who actually do know them. And those have all been read and reviewed by admissions offices. Suddenly inundating them with letters from a pastor's great uncle, it's not really going to do anything for the student except eventually, potentially again, be that thorn in the side that's not really showing anything new about your student or hearing from your student, but from these random tangential people who have nothing to do with your student.
Devil's advocate, what about people that do know your students?
So
that
a
you
lot
may
of-
not have tapped before?
So a lot of times colleges do limit the number of recommendation letters that should be sent to schools, and there's a reason for that. If you think about it, they're reading thousands and thousands of applications, right? They're spending an average of 7 minutes per application. And so you really want to put forth the recommendations that are going to be the ones that are going to be most influential and most helpful for your student. There are cases sometimes where outside people can be helpful, like if your student's applying for a PFA in theater and they have an outside, acting teacher they've been working with for years, like that's a different situation, right? But otherwise, you really want to stick to what the admissions office is asking for.
I also heard the student ask parent, what do you think I could do more? As a parent, put it right back on your student. Your student knows themselves. They know, they might feel a little lost in the moment, but putting it right back on them, like, what do you think? Maybe they will identify another person that, like, oh, I remember so-and-so went to this school. Like, oh, let's give them a call. Why don't you ask and see what that's all about? Like, your student, in that moment of stress, wants the fixer to come in and fix it. But if you put it right back on them, amazing things will happen. Like, you'll be like, whoa, didn't even think about that. Oh, that's so interesting. Let's look into that. What can we do together? Maybe it's sitting down having that conversation. Your students are capable. They are very bright. They know themselves very well.
Okay. Next. I got my consent decision back. I was deferred.
Oh, sweetheart, let's take a look at it. This wasn't what we expected. Are you okay?
Not really. I really wanted this.
They might have mentioned what they expect from deferred students. Did they provide any guidance?
Yeah, they mentioned submitting an update on my achievements and interests.
That's a good sign. While you consider that, it might also help to look at your other college acceptances.
I don't know if I want to consider other options yet. This was my dream.
I know. But exploring other opportunities doesn't mean giving up on this one. It's about keeping your options open.
I guess. I just feel stuck.
It's all right to feel that way. Maybe sending the update the college requested could help you feel more proactive. Do you need help organizing your updated resume or composing the email?
Sure. I guess I could use some help making sure I don't forget anything. Thanks, Mom.
Yes, that's more the way to do it, is you gently be there for whatever they need. And as I said before, oftentimes not in that moment, but they'll come back. They'll be in their room for the day and then come back. They'll, look at literature and look through things and start to process. They'll talk to their friends and process a little bit. They'll come back. And it's just, that's when you'll start to decide things. And if they're not, give us a call and we'll help with that as well. We have one more, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Sounds good?
I heard UVA released their decisions today. Have you looked?
Not yet. I was going to now. I'm really nervous, Mom.
I understand you've been waiting for this. No matter what it says, remember I'm here for you.
I didn't get in.
Oh, sweetie, I can see how much this meant to you. I'm here to listen if you want to talk about it.
I worked so hard.
You did, and I'm proud of you for that. Rejection stinks, and rejection stings.
It stinks too.
And it doesn't define your worth or your efforts. Let's figure out what you need right now. Do you want some time alone? Would you like to talk more about how you're feeling?
I just need a little time. I'm gonna go to Jess's for a bit. She's expecting me.
Okay, take all the time you need, and when you're ready, I'm here to support you in figuring out the next steps. You've gotten some fantastic acceptances already, and when you're ready, let's plan to do some more research into the schools that see your value as a student. Okay, so those last two were more, what can we do? Positive.
A lot of that. A lot of the validation in those two.
Thoughts? Questions?
I really liked, at the very end, you said something about what do you want to do right now, or what do you need right now? I liked that question a lot. I mean, sometimes it's like, I'd really like to go get a treat, cupcake, I need some sugar, I want to go walk and shop for a little bit, take my mind off of it. Like all of those things are, can be distracting in the moment, like, and allow for that processing with someone that you're connected with. So allowing your student to go to a friend's house, even though you might be all in knots right now, like what if they're just going to compare, what if they're, like those thoughts are probably barraging your head at the moment. But allowing that and just validating and saying, I'm here for when you're ready, when you want, I'm available. Making that like screen-free, eye contact available.
Also, I think it's helpful to try to demonstrate it's not a binary situation. It's not success or failure. There are other options, there are other alternatives, there are other perspectives. So let's just look at the situation different
And I think you've probably heard, right, and you've heard us all year saying, make sure you like every school on your list, because if they don't get into their top school, we'll be talking about these. And so you want to support them and remember to promote the other schools. So let's talk about what we liked about the other schools, what, that you liked so much when we get away from that one school you like so much. And then we go from there. Okay, if you don't have any questions,
Question. With the schools that are saying like mid-December, and no date, and then I've also found that some of them are not even sending an email. Like, you have to really be checking the portals every day, or do you find that eventually they'll send you an email, to look, or
Most will send an email to let you know that they're going to be releasing decisions and to look at your portal. But we also suggest that students do check their portals fairly often, because different things can pop up. There can be things that end up missing, or if they need more information, they may not always email you immediately to let you know that there's something on that portal. And so that's why we do encourage students to check them fairly frequently. I do not think you need to check them every day, maybe every few days. I often suggest that students even put all of their portals into like one folder on their email, just so they have everything organized and so they can find all of their logins, because I know every school's different system for their logins. But yeah, not every day might be a little bit anxiety producing for students, but every few days, once a week is probably sufficient.
especially if they're saying mid-December, there's no reason to check December 1st.
Right.
Whatever they've gotten in.
They'll let you know if they're going to release early. Sometimes they say mid-December or January, because the school wants to give themselves enough time to make sure they're processing everything. If they're going to release earlier, they will let your student know.
If you're noticing that this is anxiety inducing to be checking, set up a routine around it. Like, hey, let's pick a time during the day. We'll be here to support you when you open it. We'll do it every other day, every week. Set that routine so that at least it's not them holding that anxiety so often that they can at least then, I know that they have control and access to their own portal all the time, but talk to them about that. Like if you anticipate this to be sort of nerve-wracking for you, let's make sure that you're doing it in a supported space.
So my question actually kind of went along, and this is both for you guys, but also I know there's some parents in the room with older kids who may also have a good perspective on this. Purely from a process standpoint, I know you get it, most of the time you're getting an email saying decisions are getting released. Did they tell you a time and a date? And did you then go and sit down with your student? How do you make that work in real life? And this is like looking ahead, going, these next couple weeks are really busy. How do we do this and not like kill the holidays at the same time? So how did you guys find the way to navigate that with your students? Does that make sense? I mean, I've seen kids.
Yeah, I think you can sit with your child with this, unless your child's saying, don't, I'll let you know. I mean, it's okay, I know Casey's gotta go, she's got a meeting. My daughter, of course, it was 11:30 on a Friday night that she got in and looked at her portal and came screaming into the bedroom, so it was all good, but they're going to do that. It's not, it's not bad for you to sit with them or not to say, let's look together at all. It's just when you're pushing, like, let's look again, you know, that you might not do that.
And most of the time, the student will get an email with the time and the date, not necessarily the parents. So, you know, checking in with your student fairly frequently, but again, not like overbearingly as much as you can, is a helpful way to kind of coordinate with each other. Like, okay, I just got an email from Buck now, which is already released at this point. But they did give an exact time, an exact date when they were going to do it, and that way maybe you guys block it off in your calendar if you want to do that together. Or they might say, I really want to open it by myself, and then I'll come talk to you afterwards, and they might need that time on their own to kind of like do some, you know, process. And that's okay too, so I think it's a good conversation to have.
That makes sense, thank you.
Any other thoughts? Thanks, everyone. We are selling Jeff Salinga books
Over there, if anybody wanted to grab a copy.
With the super supportive Mrs. Shadler, no, I'm just kidding, she is.
That Mrs. Shadler's the best.
Mrs. Shadler, just don't ask her about Villanova. No, just